Russia's most recent launch to the International Space Station was supposed to be routine, but the launch pad collapsed just seconds after the rocket cleared the tower. If this launch had been even slightly delayed, it could have turned into one of the darkest moments in Russia's spaceflight history. So what went wrong, and why did the entire structure fail? Let's break it down. For decades, the Soyuz spacecraft has been the backbone of Russia's human space program. Its reliability was so high that even NASA depended entirely on Soyuz flights from 2011 to 2020 after the space shuttle retired. Yet despite all this history, one fact stands out. Russia is still using technology that is almost 60 years old. That includes the launch pad itself. Site 31 has been standing for about 64 years, supporting over 500 successful launches. But it is undeniably old. Russia has tried to move on, building new pads at Vostochny since 2016 and developing the Angra rocket family to eventually leave Baikonur behind. But nothing has fully replaced this aging launch site, and the consequences were clear. When the latest mission lifted off in the early hours, everything seemed normal. 2 Russian cosmonauts and 1 American astronaut climbed into their seats, and the Soyuz lifted off the pad, just like hundreds of times before. But just seconds after liftoff, something went horribly wrong. Pad 31, one of Russia's main launch sites for crewed missions, suffered catastrophic damage. Drone footage showed a scene like an explosion had happened. The support tower collapsed, metal beams were twisted, concrete cracked or was missing, and the area beneath the rocket, where technicians usually work, was almost destroyed. Surprisingly, at the start, the rocket itself performed normally. Its engines ignited while still held in place, as designed, blasting full power for several seconds before lifting off, a method that has worked since the 1960s. But after a few moments, there was a big collapse. Another reason was because, over time, the cavities and support areas weaken. One weak section can cause the entire structure to fail, which seems to have happened here. The design of the Russian support tower made things worse. Unlike Falcon 9 or Atlas V towers, Soyuz towers wrap around the rocket with 4 arms that flip open at full thrust. Sitting so close, they face the full shockwave of ignition. The result was disastrous. But after investigation, the real surprise came. It wasn't old technology that failed. Also, there were few human errors during pre-launch preparations caused the problem. Someone forgot to secure a 20-ton service platform under the rocket. When Soyuz MS-28 lifted off, that massive platform was thrown into the flame trench. An internal source told local media it was a simple checklist mistake, not the fault of crumbling infrastructure. Also, some experts think the locks that were supposed to hold the platform in place either weren't properly secured or were damaged and worn out. When the rocket's engines fired and the vehicle lifted off, the platform couldn't stay stable and ended up collapsing. Right now, it's unclear if any other Russian launch pad can safely handle crewed flights to the ISS. Roscosmos still plans an uncrewed Progress resupply mission in December, but the Soyuz MS-28 crew, Sergei Kudv, Sergei Mikv, and Chris Williams, remain safe aboard the station for the next 8 months. The bigger problem is that Russia's only operational Soyuz launch pad is now out of service. Without Site 31, Roscosmos faces a situation not seen since 1961. They may not be able to send astronauts or cargo to the ISS. This blackout could last months, maybe even a full year. The first mission to be affected will likely be Progress MS-33, scheduled for mid-December 2025, which will delay essential deliveries of oxygen, water, food, and fuel. Soyuz MS-29 in 2026 could also be at risk, possibly forcing astronauts on the ISS to extend their missions, adding stress and reducing supply margins. This incident didn't become a disaster. All crew members were safe, but it underscores a larger reality. Russia's war in Ukraine has forced massive military spending, over $100 billion per year, cutting Roscosmos's budget from about $3.5 billion to roughly $2.5 billion in 2025. Crewed Soyuz missions have dropped from 4 every 2 years to 3, while major projects like the Super Heavy NSA rocket have been delayed. Since Site 31-6 is now Russia's only active pad for crewed Soyuz launches, there's no backup if something goes wrong. That means even a small problem with the structure or machinery can have serious consequences. So in this situation, Russia would have no choice but to rely entirely on the United States. And not just NASA, but SpaceX. By the end of 2025, SpaceX had completed over 40 consecutive successful flights, making Dragon the world's most reliable and flexible spacecraft. Cargo Dragon can carry nearly 3,500 kilograms per flight, more than enough to replace Progress, and Crew Dragon could transport additional Russian cosmonauts if needed. With agreements in place, extra cargo flights or crew rotations could be arranged within months. Even though there are political tensions between the United States and Russia, the International Space Station remains a symbol of cooperation in space. Right now, with Russia's Soyuz Launch Pad out of commission, SpaceX is not just a backup option. It is the only way to keep the 25-year-old station supplied and prevent a serious shortage of food, water, and other essentials. At the same time, SpaceX is preparing for its Starship Flight 12. These new V3 vehicles are much larger, more powerful, and more advanced than previous rockets. The upper stage of Starship has 9 Raptor engines, producing nearly 2,400 tons of vacuum thrust. This is enough to carry a massive load of 150 to 200 tons into low Earth orbit. The vehicle's heat shield has also been redesigned to reduce the risk of tile damage during re-entry, which was a problem in earlier versions. The launch pad for Starship has been rebuilt as well. Past failures showed that the old pad could not handle repeated launches with such high-thrust rockets. The rebuilt pad is stronger and designed to support these extreme forces safely. The Soyuz accident and SpaceX's upgrades show the huge differences in how the two space programs operate. Russia is still relying on very old infrastructure and technology, which is more prone to problems. SpaceX, on the other hand, focuses on pushing the limits of rocket size, power, and innovation. This contrast highlights an important truth about spaceflight. Even small mistakes or weaknesses in design, infrastructure, or procedures can have huge consequences. Now, Russia has a couple of options to deal with the damaged launch pad. They could try to repair the existing pad, but that could take several months to complete. Another option is to build a completely new service cabin from scratch. Technically, Russia has the knowledge and expertise to do either, but political decisions and financial constraints might slow down or limit these efforts. For now, we'll have to wait and watch how the situation develops over the next few weeks and months. Stay tuned to get updated by the latest news. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.